Cue up Tyler from Spartanburg. I'm sure he'd still have something to complain about. Clemson over Notre Dame 31-23. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. Appreciate your support. Please like the video, even if you don't agree with me. Best discussion, debate, and analysis. Join us on a regular basis. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell for the notifications to know when we go live, which is all the time. All right, let's get to it. Couple football teams that we would expect to be playing meaningful football in November. This was one of those games that you circle on the calendar in the off season. Two prime programs, they've played meaningful championship caliber play in recent years against each other, but Clemson, they lost a woeful NC State last week by a touchdown. Came into this game at 2-4 in the ACC, looking at their worst season since Dabo's first in 2010, 6-7. Notre Dame, 2 losses. That knocks them out of college football playoff participation. Of course, they don't play in a conference, so meaningful loss season for Notre Dame as well, even though they took Ohio State down to the last play of the game and have played well across the board. Just blasted USC. So still a talented bunch of teams here and still a game worth watching. I did. Let's dive into it. Audric Estime on the first drive of the game. Boom, 25 yards, 23 yards on 2 particular carries. He is ranked by ESPN in their mock drafts, Kiper, McShay, as the second best running back in the nation coming out of college to the NFL. Hurdling guys, dodging guys, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. He is a load to bring down, and once he gets into the secondary, no safety wants to see Audric Estime. Leads to a field goal, 3-0. No Will Shipley for no Will Shipley for Clemson. Leads the ACC in total yardage. Phil Maffa, you better be ready to carry the load. And yes, he was. Jeremiah Trotter, though, before that, no Will Shipley for Clemson. Leads the ACC in total yards per game. So Phil Maffa had to be ready to carry the load, and that he was. After a Jeremiah Trotter sack that set up great field position on the return from Hamp Green, Phil Maffa, 41 yards and gone for his career-high 7th touchdown, and Clemson's on the board 7-3. Benjamin Morrison with a big pass breakup. Very impressive play out of him that set up Notre Dame in good shape, except they muffed the punt return. Chris Tyree with a muff, doink, right off the face mask. Long snapper for Clemson came all the way down the field to recover the fumble. That set up Clemson at the 22. Notre Dame's defense stiffened from there. Clemson came into the game, as most of you know, struggling at hitting field goals, just 7-14 on the season. Probably lost to Florida State because of that issue. Hit the 21-yarder, 10-3 at that point. Khalil Barnes and other Clemson defenders found out that Sam Hartman, not necessarily just a pocket passer, he can run. 7 carries, 68 yards, and that includes 3 sacks taken off that yardage. So probably lost close to 30 yards in sacks. So Sam Hartman ran for about 95 yards in this game, and he took off, and Khalil Barnes on this particular play has to have a little bit more respect for Sam Hartman's speed on this day. You would think that if anyone's familiar with Sam Hartman as thrower and runner, it would be Clemson. They faced him 4 times. Hartman 0-4 against Clemson. Make that 0-5 against Clemson. That led to a field goal. We had a 10-3 ball game at that point because Xavier Thomas made a tremendous play on the ensuing drive by Notre Dame as they were looking to score. Bats the ball in the air on a third down situation. That saved a touchdown because Jabran Payne was in the flat and he was all alone. He would have waltzed into the end zone most likely. But Notre Dame kicks the field goal. That was their issue in the first half, 10-6, not completing drives in the red zone. Clemson comes back, 9 plays, 75 yards. Cade Klubnik Didn't trust him too much today, did they? Well, they had the running game working with Maffa. 13 for 26 for 109 for Klubnik. And, of course, they got out in front in the first half and had a lead. Finds Tyler Brown for the touchdown, 9-yard slant. Tyler Brown has been a guy that stepped up. I can't believe they only threw him one pass today, but it was a touchdown. But he's been the main threat for Clemson this season and the most dependable receiver. And I tweeted out earlier today, 2012 to 2020 Clemson wide receiver play, probably best in the nation. Last 3 seasons, I don't know what's happened. We've talked about it with our guy, Jason Priester, on our Clemson channel a number of times. Interesting recruiting development issues with and just recruiting misses at times. Even though they've recruited well in the rankings at the wide receiver position, it's just not there. But Tyler Brown's been a good find here in 2023. The Aflac trivia question. I should have noted this and looked it up. The only Notre Dame quarterback to win at Clemson. Is it Joe Montana? I didn't look it up. I know Clemson defeated Notre Dame while Montana was there, and also Dwight Clark playing for the Clemson Tigers. Anyway, leave that in the comments section. Key play in the game that really broke it open. Jeremiah Trotter jumped a route. He's a great player. He's going on to the NFL. We know about his physical skills, but also his mental skills in diagnosing the play. Somewhat baiting Hartman, not necessarily baiting him. He just jumped the route, and boom, Hartman made a bad decision. Pick 6 made it 24-6 at this point. But Notre Dame stayed in the game. They drove it down the field. But once again, Clemson stops on a 1st and goal. Notre Dame gets it all the way down to 3 on an Audric Estime catch and run down to the goal line. But on 1st and goal at the 3, they can't punch it in. Another field goal. It's 24-9. Phil Maffa's first 15 carries on this game netted 124 yards. Now, his next 21 carries were a bit more difficult, of course, leading late in the game, last couple drives, Notre Dame really focusing on the run, but 186 yards on 36 carries for Maffa. Bo Collins had a drop that was key on a particular play. Oh, boom. It was also key here. Bo Collins with another drop landed into the hands of Xavier Watts. It was a slant play. Klubnik was right on the money, right on time. Boom, hit Collins in the chest, bounced up into the air, and if a ball is loose in the Notre Dame secondary, most likely Xavier Watts is going to come down with it. His 7th pick, he almost made it a pick 6, went down to the 2-yard line to make it 24-16 after ND took it in. Late in the ball game, it's 31-23 as Clemson took it out to a 31-16 lead. And that cut it to 31-16, then 31-23. It was all set up for Sam Hartman to finally get a win at Clemson, even though they were outplayed most of the day. The total yardage would tell you that Notre Dame was somewhat in control, but certainly Clemson was a better team on this day, just made the more explosive plays. The defense looked better. But Hartman, down 8, had the ball in his hands with 2 minutes left to play, but threw a horrible pass across the middle. Just let one sail, as he is apt to do from times. A lot of respect for Sam Hartman, one of the best quarterbacks in college football, but not quite elite because of a few things, this being one of them. Too many throws to the other team, air-mailed it, and got picked off with 1:58 left in the game. But Phil Maffa had a tremendous day, but did not protect the football on the very next play. Maffa coughs it up. Notre Dame's got another shot. They move it down the field with a few first down conversions, get out past the 50-yard line, but cannot convert as Clemson shuts it down on defense. And defense has not been the issue this year for Clemson. Sure, they gave up some plays in this game, but consider how many defensive plays by Notre Dame set up the Notre Dame offense. Clemson held in the red zone time after time after time after time in this game. They came into the game 8th in the nation in scoring defense, number 6 in total defense. And once again, they slam the door and they win at 31-23, despite that Maffa fumble, which ties Clemson with Nebraska for the most fumbles in the FBS this season. Notre Dame loses, falls to 7-3, and Clemson at 5-4. Neither team can win any kind of a championship. They're just looking to get to postseason play. And so for Clemson and Notre Dame fans, you tell me, leave in the comments section, what do you want out of this season based on what is left to play for with 3 and 4 losses? It's our instant analysis right here at the Voice of College Football. Give me a call late Saturday night after the primetime games. We talk college football with you and wrap up Week 10 right here at the Voice of College Football.